What's up, YouTube? You're looking at the starter on the underside of my Silverado. Watched several videos about removing this and putting it back in that didn't cover everything, so I'm trying my best on mine. It's been making a funky grinding sound when I start it. Here is the sound. So I'm putting the parking brake on, and now I'm taking the wheel, the front passenger wheel, off to get better access to it. Some people say that you need to take that inner wheel well plastic part off. I didn't need to. I also didn't need to mess with the dipstick or the dipstick tube like some people said. Remove the negative side with an 8mm, and this isn't one of those stupid corporate AutoZone videos where they tell you to remove the battery cable if you're changing the oil. This is for real because you're messing with electricity. This is the passenger side. This is my setup. Got my wife's old yoga mat, a jack there, tire there just in case, and another jack stand right there. I've got my clip-on lamp shooting right through here. You can even see the heat shield on the starter right there. I'm gonna go underneath the truck, and there is our starter. Let's see that from another angle. Okay, this is the passenger wheel well. This is the front of the vehicle, this direction. Back of the vehicle, that direction. We'll come over, and there is our starter. Again, that way is the front of the vehicle. First thing we're going to do is pop this little oil level sensor out with a screwdriver. Tough to do this one-handed, but you're sticking this. This is the top of the vehicle is up towards the sky here. Stick this thing in here, kind of pull it down, and at the same time, see how that's got some loose, at the same time you can pull out that cord. Okay, that's where the sensor was, pulled it out. This bolt is an 11. It's a little plastic shield. We're gonna take that off in a minute, but first let's crack these two bolts on the starter loose if we can. Those are both 13s. Cracked them both loose. They definitely took some muscle. Alright, bolts are out. It's loose. Now I'm gonna take this 11mm shield off to give us the clearance. Okay, I'm gonna pop this heat shield off of it. That's on the top of it. Hopefully give us a little more room and clearance. We'll remember how that goes back on the new one. So I'm pushing towards the radiator, the front of the truck. I'm pushing it back like that, and then when I got enough clearance, I'm bringing this front part down, back and down, and now she's basically hanging loose, but we still need to take them bolts off, or excuse me, take the wires off the top here. I'm gonna use my pass-through socket. All these sockets, the bolt can go right through, so it doesn't matter how long the bolt is. Just click it in, and the wrench itself has a hole in it, so we should be able to slide this right over that terminal on the starter. Here's the wheel well. I'm coming in right through here with my pass-through wrench to get that terminal off. I'm sitting here in the wheel well on the outside of the vehicle. Got my hand underneath the starter so I can move it around, and I'm slipping my pass-through socket over that terminal. And it's on there. I should be able to break it loose. Oh yeah. Okay, I took that 13mm wire off, or nut off the 13mm wire. So now this thing's really loose. Let's see this one more. I'll show you one more time. you're tilting this end up towards the sky to give you the clearance to clear this bell housing. And then once you got it clear, it just comes right on down. Still hanging on this 8mm wire right here, if you can see that. So I'm gonna take that off real quick with a 8mm socket. Okay. And she's free. Okay, there's the old starter, there's the new starter, there's the part number for the new starter. I went with the AC Delco because this job looked like kind of a pain. Normally, I'm definitely the kind of guy to roll the dice on the $50 Amazon part. There's a $50 Amazon starter that looks a lot like that, that's got good reviews, so it's up to you, but that's what I'm doing, AC Delco. First, I'm going to put the 8mm cable back, I'm gonna call it, I got two cables. One has an 8mm nut, one has a 13mm. So I'm gonna call this 8mm. 8mm goes back on there. Kind of gonna rest it on this crossbar here. Make sure it don't come down and hit me in the teeth. And putting the 8mm nut back on. Nice and tight. Alright, 8mm nuts on there. Let's try and put this thing back the way it went in. Or came out. Not too bad. Same deal. I put this end towards the sky, got the clearance on the bell housing. The 13mm nut that goes over the other terminal, I can see that from where I'm sitting, so I'm gonna slide it over. I'll start the nut and then I'll go back up top to the wheel well to tighten her down. Washer and nut. Alright, here we are in the wheel well again. There's our new starter. Still haven't put the two bolts back in so I can manipulate it with my hand. And I'm going to use my pass-through wrench and get this bottom shiny copper terminal nut tightened down. The thing is, with this new Delco part, they gave us a 14mm nut, so keep that in mind before you go crazy. Tighten it back up. Manual says 37 pounds. 37. Now I'm putting that 11mm bolt back in that dust cover, starting it with my hand and then finishing it with a wrench. And clipping our oil sensor back in. Oh. There she is. Okay, everything's all buttoned up and hooked back up. Gonna give it the first start, see what happens if it's still making that noise. Oh, starts like a new truck. Nice. Well, there you have it. Starts and sounds great. Not as scary or tough as other YouTube videos led me to believe. Hope this helps you and hope yours goes as smooth as mine did. Peace.